Don't worry, if anything embarrassing happens, I'll take it out if I remember. So.
You gotta leave that in.
All right, hey guys, welcome back to, whoops, I hurt myself. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cheyenne and this is Cheyenne New, and today we are on to episode 2 of the Unorthodox Panel. Today's topic, so that I don't forget, it is the Coochie Coup of 2021. For those of you who are living far beneath the ocean, you may or may not know that January 6th, a lot of Trump supporters raided the Capitol building in an act of domestic terrorism. We're going to talk to 4 special guests about the occurrence and who should go to jail. We have a lot of options between the actual people who committed the crime, the police officers who let them do it, the media that perpetuated the lies that Trump told, and then Trump himself. All right, so Dez, so first up we have Dez. He is a TikToker, the only one that I really know that is funny. And he introduced me to a comedian on TikTok, actually. Dez, take it away.
So what's up? I'm Dez, cannabis enthusiast, TikToker, and comedian who hasn't started yet. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell, and I live in a trailer. That's my life.
Also, he has cats, which makes us part of a team. The other part of that team is Natalie, awesome cute girl, anime lover, far better at makeup than me.
Hi, you're a liar.
I've seen both.
Thank you for having me. No, gorgeous, shush, beautiful. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I don't really have much to say.
Matt, you get that like real feel bad feeling when you realize you didn't say thanks for having me after yours.
Oh,
sound bad.
So thanks for having me. I'm just gonna throw mine in there.
Next, we have Jay, photographer, awesome guy, can be a model if he chose to. Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Just ready to get into the topics, I guess.
Okay. Anyways, lastly, we have Brittany, model, writer, communications major, hostess with the mostest. How you doing?
I'm good. You make me sound a lot more interesting than I am. So there's that. I think just like everybody else, I'm pretty stoked to be here. I am also a horrible plant mother. So if you guys look back there, my plant is dead. So that's a fun fact. I cannot keep plants alive, but I'm ready to jump in.
Like he's straight opposite of me, but I killed an African mask too, so we're twins.
Oh no.
Oh Lord.
So yeah, like I was telling you guys earlier, I decided to do more research into the Capitol storming because the media was starting to rebrand it as like a pledge to freedom or whatever. So just before we start, I'm gonna say the difference between a coup and an insurrection. I wrote this down. A coup is the removal of an existing government from power, usually with the threat of violence. So they had a failed coup. Whereas an insurrection is the refusal of obedience or order, open resistance against established authority.
So the successful insurrection but failed coup?
Well, my thing is it wasn't an insurrection because they weren't fighting for anything. They were just so how the day went, basically Trump had called for a march.
I think my biggest thing is just that they why? And then once you got there and you realized you didn't have anything to do, that was kind of it, right? They got there and they realized they weren't about it. Like, let's be real, BLM, bout it. The police station in Minnesota isn't there anymore. Burn that to the ground. They got there and they had an opportunity to do something and they showed their true colors. They didn't do nothing.
See, what's crazy to me is that Black Lives Matter or any Black organization obviously has never done it to that degree with like zip ties and makeshift weapons. They have marches and sometimes people go to their protests and like start shit, but it's never been, oh, we want to kill the governor It's never been, we want to kill Pence. Whereas people in the Capitol building were literally chanting, hang Pence, even though they were Republican.
Yeah, a lot of people went in there with the intention of hurting somebody.
Yeah, I honestly think it's like one of those things where it's like you're waiting for that homie to throw a punch. Like everybody's waiting for somebody to take that next step. And then once Lady got shot, everybody was like, you know what? I'm not really into this like that.
The thing with that made me so mad was that people were trying to hashtag it, say her name, when that is a hashtag exclusively meant for Black women or Black people in general that were unlawfully and like unjustly killed. Like
yeah. Whereas the lady who got shot at the Capitol, she was warned several times.
Yes.
Exit the room, and she kept crawling through that window. She said, "I will die for this man."
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the video? Like of her getting shot?
I have.
It's just so frustrating having to watch it and see it happen. And the guy, like the video that I watched, it was a guy recording it that was in the crowd. And when she got shot, he was like, oh, it's just a flashbang. It's fine. While she's on the ground bleeding.
That's what got me about like everything that happens. Like when she got shot, everyone around her, I think we might have seen the same video. It was on Twitter or something like that.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of just pulled their phones out. Like I know I was at Black Lives Matter marches, and if people did get hurt, someone had their phone, but more people were kind of like, there was a video I saw, and some Black person was doing something, and I think one of the police officers reacted, and there were a ton of all these white people that just ran over and just circled the guy to make sure none of the police officers came. And I think it just speaks to the level of character. Like she got shot and everybody was like, oh, let's put this on Twitter and hashtag say her name, which I did not know that they did that. So I'm pretty cool about keeping my cool. But when you said that, I was like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, I immediately left Twitter when I saw that. Another thing to keep in mind is that same day they were going to the Capitol, it was because they were counting the Electoral College votes for Joe Biden's confirmation. So that's another reason why they were there, to stop the vote.
Like, so sorry your president didn't get his 4 more years.
It's like,
could you imagine another 4? Oh, God, I couldn't do it.
We'd be in this pandemic for another 4 years.
But that's the thing, though. Let's say Trump wins and like Black people storm the Capitol. Something's going to change. Like we would have we would have made something happen, I feel like, as opposed to they felt like they were in the right and they didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. What was that, Jay?
I would say Homeland Security would have came like off the jump instead of Trump telling them not to come.
Yeah, that's another thing. The mayor of DC asked the FBI and Homeland Security to beef up security before the count, because they have been talking about storming the Capitol for literal weeks since December, and everyone was just like, oh, they're white people. And now Perler's gone, and apparently white people feel like they will never be able to breathe again.
Like the last 4 years for us?
Literally, if Trump was reelected, I was gonna leave the state. I was just gonna be like, no.
See y'all in Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
No, because Justin Trudeau's like, let's keep those pipelines and ruin native land. And I was like, this is all bad. I was just gonna go to like Germany or something.
I think another thing that made me so mad about everything was the same people that we were upset when Trump was elected were the ones throwing a fit because Trump didn't win. And it's just kind of like this whole double standard of, I can act this way, but you can't because you're a little snowflake.
Dude, don't get me started. So I was talking to someone about the whole Capitol. So I've been talking I'm also a poly major as well. So we were talking about the double standard of the Capitol terrorist attack and how like the whole Black Lives Matter marches and how it's a double standard because I don't remember what the exact date, but I think it was sometime last year, June, where Trump was saying these thugs and hoodlums, they're going out, they shouldn't be out and should be tried to the fullest extent of the law. And now with the Capitol, all these white folk went out there, destroyed like the Capitol building, lots of damage. And then they're like, oh no, they're patriots. They knew what they were just trying to get their voice heard. And I'm like, that's a triple standard. And I could go on and on, but that's like the whole standard, and I hate it. Like, it's bad.
It's like what happened to when the reading starts, the shooting starts. The girl who has Pelosi's laptop is on home arrest. Like,
that entire situation made me so mad. Like,
I was happy when I found out like the stuff that he implemented that was meant to go against our protesters just like backfired immediately. That was like it's just like there are moments where we have like a slim bit of happiness around like at least they get to see how stupid they are.
You guys remember seeing that one guy? I think he was wearing like fur and like had his like face painted. Did you guys see those pictures of him? Someone was trying to say, oh, he was at Black Lives Matter protests too. So he's like, he's not a racist, like he's not a Republican, because he was like fighting for Black Lives Matter too. And I was like, maybe he just likes protests. Like
maybe he's just an anarchist.
Definitely like some people are definitely like chaos.
Supporting Black Lives Matter and supporting Trump. Like those two don't coincide.
So some people just want to see shit burn. They just want to cause chaos, destruction. I wouldn't be surprised if he was at both.
Sorry. So the big question is like, whose fault is it? Because for weeks, Trump has been talking about how the election was stolen from him and all the fraud stuff. So his supporters who only listen to like him, The OWN and Fox, they're like, bro, we got to save America. And then there's the Republicans who cheer them on. There's the QAnon lady who gave them directions to Pelosi. There's Ted Cruz. There's literally like so many people who had their hands in this. Like, who do you guys think has like the biggest fault?
I think the definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
I think the definitely biggest fault, offer up vote to Trump. I think also Rudy Giuliani and Ted Cruz are like probably that big three of fault. But I think people, or at least other media outlets, aren't really putting enough emphasis on the more right-wing media. Maybe because they want to have this conflict with freedom of press. But places that claim their opinion base when like the lawsuits and things start coming out, like Fox News, they'll claim they're an opinion-based network instead of an actual news network when litigation comes into play. So that lets them skirt outside of what's ethically right and wrong, but you shouldn't be able to lie to people on a mass scale the way that they do, and basically just cause internal conflict within our nation the way that they do. But I don't think many senators and legislation will actually combat that, because I think they can just get freedom of the press and that they're being silenced and things like that.
Oh man, I need to send you a microphone. But yeah, I mean, I agree for the most part. It's anybody else?
Yeah, but I feel like it's just it's frustrating for me, like to see that it was so easy. Like whoever was in charge of security, like all of our politicians could have just been wiped out, right? Like they could have just been gone that day. And whoever was in charge of security was like, nah, worst comes to worst, like they'll just come and hang out in here, I guess. Like, but what if it had gotten worse? Like we could be in The Handmaid's Tale right now. Like we don't know what's going on. Like, so whoever's in charge of security or whoever was in charge of keeping the people that literally run our country safe, like, I feel like that was the biggest miss, because half of our government could be wiped out. Like those people could be gone.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback off of that. So I know you're saying how, I'm totally with you, by the way. I think that they are also to blame, whoever that person is, because now the people that broke into the Capitol and got that close and almost succeeded, I feel like some of them have gotten in trouble, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of them succeeded because they're like, oh, we got heard. And another thing, so I'm going to answer the question now, but I feel like Trump is to blame a lot, and like the big three as well. I feel like Trump and the news media has kind of planted that seed. And what should be said too is that like the people that went there, they're not like the dirt poor white folk. These are people that, there was a story, and this, I don't remember what she was, but this woman rented a private jet and flew her friends down there to go to the protest. So it's not like poor people, it's people in power that went, and they had, for lack of a better word, they had the audacity to believe that this is their right, this is their place, and we're going to break things until we're heard. But when Black Lives Matter, like, burnt the building or broke some windows, the whole world was going to end. So that's my spiel.
Now, do you have any? Oh, sorry, my notes are fishy. Do you have anything to say, like, overall, or who to blame, or what you thought was like most confusing?
No, I think everyone like made it very understandable and clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree.
I love when white people just know when to be quiet. I'm just kidding.
Natalie is white, for the listeners out there.
Sorry.
What's crazy about the security thing is that it wasn't the national security that was lacking. Like, they're the ones who shot the lady who was like coming too close. It's the Capitol Police that was like, "Oh, hey man, it's our homies." And you know how I can't remember where it's from, but it's like the call is coming from inside the house. Like,
Scream?
Yeah. People were like, how could the police be so nice? If they were Black, it wouldn't have worked. And it's like, yeah, those are their coworkers and friends. They weren't going to do anything.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Did you see the video of the actual police taking selfies with a guy that was breaking in? That stuff like that just makes me so mad, because it's like, you're in a position of power and you're using that power to let people like you hurt things that you're supposed to be protecting. Mm-hmm. Like, it hurts my head. Like, I couldn't fathom that. Yeah. It's just kind of icky. Reformation, let's...
That reminded me, well, can y'all hear me better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I changed my microphone. But that reminded me of I can't remember what state it was, but some police deputy, or maybe she was a former police deputy, like chartered buses for people to come to the insurrection or whatever as well. And also there's a lot of former military personnel there too. So I feel like it's definitely shedding a bigger light on the whole systematic problems going on within our police and our military.
Yeah. So the reason why I think that like it could be more than Trump at fault is because it's like, okay, well, what do you guys think? Do you think that social media has the responsibility to stop these things? Like, when they have the knowledge that it goes against their guidelines and stuff, because people have been planning these protests, they've been saying kill Pelosi all over the internet. Like, should social media stop these occurrences, like cancel the meetings?
I think that's difficult to say, because in other countries, Twitter is used as such a platform to rebel against like governments that are like a little bit worse than ours, frankly. Not to say that what's going on here isn't extremely important, but like in other places, like they use Twitter like because they can't speak outwardly about what it is their like opinion is on government, because they have to use a fake profile, otherwise they're just going to disappear the next day type of stuff. So I feel like it's not necessarily social media's job, but I feel like it's the government's job to inform people on history and what has actually happened in Black communities and admit all of the times that they've been wrong throughout the years. Like, those would be starting points to getting better,
Yeah, definitely.
I think also, though, it would have a lot of kickback because it would be infringing on freedom of speech. But I also think people forget that freedom of speech isn't free of consequence. So if you are tweeting out stuff like that and you are saying that stuff, I feel like there should be some kind of repercussion other than like a little slap on the wrist. Because if you are like actively threatening someone's life and you're going to protest like that, or like terrorist attacks like that, there should be some sort of consequence other than like, it shouldn't have happened when you were breaking into the Capitol. It should have been like snuffed, like when you threatened to kill our legislators and like people on that committee. Like,
yeah.
Like, I just...
The thing about the freedom of speech also is that social media sites are private companies, and the freedom of speech is from the government. That's why Twitter is allowed to like boot Trump off. They can boot off anyone they like because they're not the government. You don't have to have access to Twitter.
A big portion of it does fall on social media sites, just because I feel like we're so, especially our generation, our millennials and Gen Z, we're born in this era of social media. I don't think we understand that this is uncharted territory for our entire age. I don't know how Facebook, Twitter affect us, our behaviorally, how we react then with certain kind of information, and we're hearing it from a bunch of different avenues. Because people right now in Ethiopia, there's like hate speech going. Okay, but basically what I'm saying is that people are using Facebook for a lot of hate speech, and it's causing a lot of problems in other nations like Ethiopia, and they're close to heavy genocide, ethnic genocide, because of things like Facebook. And so we don't understand until the repercussions kick in how things like social media affect us on a larger scale. And so I think a large part of it does fall on the social media sites to regulate how people communicate on their site, so people don't band together in these tribes and these groups and start just immediately dehumanizing other people and looking at them as the other. I think that causes a lot of these problems.
There's definitely layers of like years worth of shit that led to this moment. Like Fox News being an entertainment site and still being Fox News, and Facebook not paying people for their data while also like using algorithms to see if you're sad or if they can make you depressed. And so like, that's why I'm kind of like, that's why I wanted to talk about today, because it's like, when you think about, oh, white people being crazy, storming the Capitol, it's easy to think of it in just one day. But when you think about what led on to this, it's like there's literally a cult forming, and it's not around the Republican Party, it's around Trump. So it's like, how do you divide that? Like, these people weren't just after Pelosi, they were after Pence. Okay.
It was perfect. We should be supporting, though. We should be supporting the women that actually remembered to take the ballots and count them.
Yeah.
Because thank God they did. If they hadn't, they probably would have been destroyed.
Yeah.
Or, like, I'm sure Biden's votes would have been lost.
It's crazy.
So shout out to those people that remembered to do that. Thank God they did their jobs.
Okay, so we have 4, I think. Des, who do you think is most at fault for the Capitol storming?
I would say Trump. I would pick him off the top, just because you knew you were manipulating all these stupid people for as long as you were. I mean, I'm not going to say Trump's stupid. I honestly think he's brilliant, but in the worst way. And that's what he does. He just manipulates people and convinces people to think he's this godlike figure, to the point where they're risking their lives for him, literally. And I feel like there's no way you can get around blaming him at least a little bit, if not all the way.
I guess I'm the one anomaly, because I blame all media sites. I blame CNN, I blame Fox News, I blame literally everyone who took the last 4 years and gave Trump some kind of credibility for absolutely no reason, instead of from the get-go saying this man's trash. I blame Fox News for reporting what Trump says verbatim instead of doing actual stories. I blame all media sites for doing that. And I feel like media, maybe it's because I studied media under communications, it's like we're literally supposed to be the source of information. The people say the things, we fact check the people, and then we give it to you. And so to me, that was the biggest problem. The fact that people would hear Trump speak, go to various news sources, and then find that echo chamber that would make them always right is really what I feel like was the cause of this. And I can't wait for their asses to be sued, not only because of fueling the divide between America, but also for promoting coronavirus as a hoax.
No, that was said.
Well put.
Thank you guys.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us on. This is awesome. I'm telling you right now, I'm literally locked in a box. So meeting anybody new, talking to people with different perspectives, this was very refreshing. So thank you.
Are they different perspectives though when we were all on the same side?
Maybe this is our echo chamber.
You know what? It's nice to hear the right perspective a couple times. That's what.
Yeah, I'm not too adventurous in speaking to new people, so.
Yeah, and why would you want to make friends that, disagree with you politically? Because they kind of.
I don't even like having friends that disagree with me on drinks. So. All right, we're going to wrap it up. This is once again the Unorthodox Panel. You can catch us on Spotify, YouTube. If I ever gain money from this, I will start paying you guys. But for now, if you want to say goodbye to the lovely people, we can. You can catch me on YouTube. I'm Cheyenne Yu. And then Des, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at DesW15 and on TikTok at the Canabot. That's me.
All right, and all links will be in the description. Natalie, do you want the people to follow you?
Sure, if they want to. No gun to their head. It's at Instagram. That's the only social media I have. Natalie I almost gave you my email. Natalie.h.ann with an E.
Awesome. And then Jay is currently looking into grad school, but he also has art to show us. Jay, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Instagram at McKinney_Jimmy. I upload every now and then. It's usually.
All right, and finally, we have our hostess with the Moses, Brittany. Where can people follow you on Instagram? And do you have anything else that you'd like to share?
No, I'm pretty good. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter, because I love Twitter. It's Brittany R. Coates, and it's TTANY.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Later.